Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Conquering Stress Podcast. I'm Dr. Bill Janishak, and here we are, the Conquering Stress Podcast back. This is a solo edition. I've had a lot of great guests, and I really enjoy selfishly to talk to these people because I get to continue to learn. But I had a reoccurring questions over the last, probably 6 weeks or so from patients and some just my fellow colleagues, and they're like, "How do you get the results that you do? I've seen your testimonials and I've seen all this stuff, and then my cousin told me that they went to see you and X, Y, and Z." So first of all, I don't get the results in the office. The patients get the results in the office. I kind of just think of myself as a Sherpa. So one of the people that I talked to, they said, "Well, why don't you do something like that on your podcast?" I said, "I'll get around to it." Had some really cool guests on that I wanted to talk about. And then I kind of squeaked in this little time. So hopefully for your sake and everybody else, that this is going to be a little bit shorter of a podcast, but I want to just kind of give you some insights of how I do what I do. I mean, this is not the only way that if your doctor is doing something else, awesome. But I'm just here really to answer that one question. So the first thing is, people ask me, "So how do you do that?" I said, "I'm a hippie doctor. I'm a chiropractor. I'm a functional neurologist. I'm a functional medicine practitioner. We do NLP, so everything's physical, chemical, and emotional. I go on that all the time, but it's holistic. And because it's holistic, I try not to. The condition is not my endpoint of. I'm not treating a condition. I always look at the people coming in, and I treat the person. And this is really evident, and I think it's something that's missing in our whole medical system is we're treating a diagnosis that's by all studies is often wrong. Over 50% of the time is not wrong. It's not that the doctors are doofuses. Well, some might be, but because a lot of things look the same and they have to put a number so insurance can pay for it, so they can do the minimal viable treatment to get the. Remember, healthcare is a business, and you're often more being marketed to than educated. But this is about education. So the first of all is I don't treat the diagnosis so much. We're aware of the diagnosis. We dig deep into that. We really dig deep into to the condition, but the person comes in with they come in with different experiences, different old injuries, different stressors in their life, different activities that they do, some that they want to do, some that they can't do. So all those come into play. Everything's an input into the body. So we get very clear on that. And that comes out in a very clear medical history. So we start putting these things together. So if you break it down to everything, we want to know where you are in detail, and we want to know, why are you here? And they tell us. And then all we do is we put in the journey in between. But let's break down those first things that we do. Everything when somebody comes into the office, we're evaluating. I'm very judgy because I'm judging. We still have people fill out by hand. Digital is very important, but we still have them fill out by hand because handwriting in itself, the detail that they put in tell a lot about how the brain is working by penmanship. If we can see things going from the beginning when they start to write their name all the way down to when they're signing their name at the last page of the intake forms, tells us something about maybe some fatigue. Not everything, but it's just one more piece of the puzzle that we have to get in. I'll watch how they walk into the office, how they interact with people around them, how they're doing, the smoothness of their gait, how they're talking, how their clarity. All those things are not written on paper, but it's stuff that we're going in. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to ascertain is where you are, and get clear, are you having an event or do you have a condition? And those are two different things. Because if you're a perfectly normal person, healthy, happy, fit, everything else, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're rear-ended on the car and then you get an injury. That is much different than if somebody comes in and said, "Well, I have pre-diabetes, I'm 30 pounds overweight, I don't really move so much, my heart rate's been up for a while, I always get this low back, but I've had it for years, so it's just normal to me." So most often when people will come in, they think they're having an event, and when actually it's a manifestation of an underlying cause. Again, we're hippie doctors, we're all about root cause because traditionally they're just treated for their highlighted symptoms. So this is something that we'll dive deep into. And then there is, of course, a combination of the two things that we're doing. If you were that same person, I'm pre-diabetic or diabetic, I'm constipated, I have trouble breathing at night, I'm tired at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't sleep that well, I eat well when I can, I'll do like that. I don't like water, so I don't. So they have a condition. If they're also hit with a car or they bend down to pick something up and they hurt themselves and they're in pain, they're thinking that they're having an event when they have a condition that's an acute manifestation of their problem. So a lot of big words, but it means that we just have to ascertain where are they really at. And this is a big problem because I see traditionally in their treat. I had two patients last week. It was two knee replacement people, and they had I don't know if they weren't botched surgeries, but they were still having trouble with their knee, the replacement, a lot of scar tissue and yada yada. But they came into me then, so I'm going. I said, okay, well, what did you do, and why did you have this knee replacement that's going on? And how was it treated? What was everything? What did the physical therapist do? What did the chiropractor do? The acupuncturist, orthopedist, neurologist, whatever you did. And in both cases, their total treatment was 3 cortisone shots. All right, people. There's no chemical solution to a mechanical problem. 99% of, if you have one bad knee or one bad shoulder, one bad pinky or a bad neck or one side over the other, it's not age. Because if somebody comes in and I've asked this question like, oh, well, it's just old age or this knee is blowing out. I say, okay, well, how old is your other knee? Because it's fine. It's always a biomechanical, most always a biomechanical issue that causes a whole lot of a thing. It's not the cause of the disease. Again, it's the end result. So, anyways, we get down to that because traditionally they're treated like that. I have a pain. How do you treat the pain? Pain is not the problem. Pain is never the problem. Pain is only the alarm going off saying, hey, you need to look closer at me. And that's exactly what we do. On the other side of the realm is we want to go, why are you here? And they'll say, well, because my neck hurts, my back hurts, I get raging sciatica, my thyroid's off, my adrenals, whatever they're coming in for. I said, okay, I understand. I said, but what do you want? And they'll say, well, I don't want this pain, and I want to be able to sleep. And they'll usually tell me exactly what they don't want. They don't want the pain. Don't want to be up all night. They don't want to have stomach problems. They don't want to be bloating. They don't want to be fat. They don't want to be tired. And so we pin them down on exactly, so what are we doing here? If all that stuff went away, what would you do differently? And I don't really care what it is, but it's kind of disparaging. But all my years after treating over there, I found out. Now hold on to your seats right here because this is important. So it's not about me. It's not about what I do. If I have all these more degrees than the thermometer, if I have all this stuff, it's that me being a good doctor or a bad doctor, whatever it is, isn't going to move the needle on you. What do you really want? Because this whole thing that we have, our meat suit, our physiology, our muscle, our bones, our fitness, and everything else we like, the only reason that we have that is so that we can go off and enjoy our life, which is by our definition. And you may want to summit Mount Everest. You might want to run triathlons. You might want to bike across the country. You might want to spend more times volunteering at church. You might want to do the world's biggest quilt. You may just want to walk your grandchild or your child down the aisle and watch them. That you might want to just hold your grandbaby. You might want to just be down on be able to go on the floor and play with the kids again. You might want to kill it at work. You might want to grow your business. It really doesn't matter. Our meat suit, our fitness and our health and our performance, title of this whole thing is always tied in. That's what we're here. That's why we take care of our body so that we can have all the energy, the strength, the endurance. So our body is not a limiting capacity to our lives and our dreams. Ah, so that was a hard pill to swallow for somebody like me that just geeks out on this physiology. I tell you, the human body and the human physiology and the neurology and the brain and the mind and everything else is so fascinating. And I get excited going to work every Monday as I did from the first time I started chiropractic school way back in the day. It's because there's always something else to learn. There's always pieces to put together. There's all these disciplines because the body is connected. I mean, really connected. And how our energy is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon is related on how big your bicep is going to be, and how fast that you can think in the morning is going to be related on how well you dream at night, and all these other things. It's fascinating. But you shouldn't care about that. That's for the geeks and the nerds and us getting swirlies in the bathrooms and wedgies when the cool kids come around. But what we can do with that knowledge as the Sherpa, because that's what I consider myself as the Sherpa, I'm just going to guide you to where you want to do. And traditionally, if I was just treating your condition, as soon as pain, because people always come in and I can't move and I can't do this. I said, well, do you want to patch this up or do you want to fix this? I want to fix it. I never want to feel like. Very soon they start feeling better. So the motivator of pain, because if they come in for pain relief and the pain decreases, they're pretty happy. They go, well, I don't really have time for this. I couldn't do my exercise, but I feel fine. That pain's not so bad now. Well, not realizing that you're not supposed to have pain at all. But that's the point, is that if you're only really tired to the pain, and sometimes, and we've been taught this, so it's not your fault until now, because I'm gonna tell you now, you're gonna be enlightened to this, is that our pain is not our problem. We've been taught that, well, if your tummy hurts, take the tummy pill. And if your head hurts, take the head pill. And if the over-the-counter doesn't work, and then you can get a prescription. If the blue prescription doesn't work, then you can take the red prescription, or you can take both in red, make a purple prescription until the pain goes away, and then you're fine. It's the same thing with your blood tests. You're going back. As long as you're in that little bell curve that is high normal, low normal, or whatever, then you're fine. There's nothing wrong with you. And that's so much bullshit that I can't even fathom that, because they've moved that curve. I don't know if you know this by listening in there, but if you would have a blood sugar of 99, which in the range of most normals, now, if you would have had that 30 years ago, you would be considered diabetic. If you got that reading 3 times in a row 30 years ago, you would be considered diabetic. So the physiology hasn't changed in millions of years. But our criteria for calling it something and getting you to believe, well, you're normal, eat right and exercise, without any definition of what eating right and what exercise is, we kind of get that stuff. So I digress. But the important thing is that, what do you really want? And you have to tie that in. So you got to hold your doctor, feet to the fire a little to let them know, what do you really want? Why am I really here? And I can't tell you how many times, I go through every doctorly thing that we do. We do the full complete history. I get everything. We do the examination. I look at them and I say, okay, well, this is what's causing, here's the root cause, but why are we really here? And then they look at me like I have two heads. And I ask them, I said, what do we really want to be doing with our lives? And it's not a bullshit sales tactic. It's just, I want to treat the person because they're the ones getting the results. They're the testimonials that you're reading about, and they're the heroes in their story. Let me Sherpa you to where you want to go, really, instead of just like, well, okay, I'm halfway here, because we can do a lot more the more that you share. So one of the secrets that I have is I tell them to go home. I said, I want you to write down exactly what you want, and pretend that it's 6 months from now or a year from now, and you're doing something that you wanted to do. You're climbing on the mountain, your hands are high over your head, and you are looking over Mount Everest, and there you are. And then you realize that, wow, a year ago I dreamed about this, and now I'm living it. Maybe it is you're at the wedding of your grandchild or your child, and you didn't think you're going to be able to walk 40 feet because you're raging back pain and sciatica or explosive diarrhea or whatever it was. But there you are, you're watching your baby get married and start their life and everything that you had, and you can realize that, oh, I was there. You just finished the world's greatest quilt, and the quilting society just ranked you as the best quilter in the world. Again, it doesn't matter what it is, but I want you to picture yourself in that, and then what's the feeling? Because again, the meat suit that we're carrying around is carrying around our vision and our purpose. And if you tie your treatment and for the your treatment to your pain, you getting better without any intervention stops with your level of ability to tolerate a discomfort in your life. But if you tie it to a dream, dreams can go higher and higher and higher. And it's interesting in wellness, there's no top end. As long as you continue doing really good things, you continue to get, I don't know if weller and weller is a word, but you start to tap into optimum. Now, this doesn't mean that you're going to live forever, but it does mean that as long as you're living, you're going to have as much vitality that you could possibly want. So with that being said, we just have to hop into the journey. Where are you? Where do you want to be, really? And then what's the middle? We've just got to make the meat suit work better so that you can do everything you want. Now, how do I start out every podcast? I start out every podcast with, hey, welcome to Conquering Stress. This is Dr. Bill Janashek. We're here with Conquering Stress, and stress is everything physical, chemical, and emotion, because it's very interesting. Conquering stress, conquering disease, conquering injury is physical, chemical, and emotional, because everything goes together. So in the same frame, health, vitality, wellness, performance, and everything else is also physical, chemical, and emotional. And it's just the degree that you have when you're working with that. So that's what we want to do. We want you to, I want your doctor to rise to have a higher level on your behalf. And I want you to appreciate the value of that, because one of the things that bites us in the ass is technology. We have more technology, and our knowledge base is doubling anywhere from every 12 to 18 months. And that's crazy. We can't keep up with that kind of knowledge. And a big industry like the medical industry, while they're using technology for better systems, especially some like large HMOs, you might know, where you put your number in, it gives your it's giving you all the data. And they're very good at data and moving people around like that, but they're not good at treating people, because they're going, well, statistically, you should get 87.3 people get better with doing this and that and that. And what if you're not one of those 87.5% of the people? What if you need something else? And what if it's something small? You don't have anybody that's going to sit and need you, look into your eyes and tell you, what's your life like? What's your style like? And what do you want? And that's not going to happen. So you've got to look at who's treating you, and start to have a relationship with your doctor. Back in the old days, I mean, you'd have the doctors in the farming communities that they would ride their horse and buggy out to your farm when they heard somebody was, go fetch the doctor, because we got old Bill, he's sick, and we're going to find out what it is. And the doctor would come in with his black bag, his stethoscope, and look over. He said, well, look like you've been in your daddy's tobacco again. So, you better have a Coca-Cola. Watch this boy up. And they'd give him 3 chickens and he'd go back on that. But it's that doctor knew that family. The doctor knew what the little, his little patients were doing. He knew the environment of the farm. He knew the family and everything else. And that's more important than everything. You've got to know how the context of the patient. So that's why I take some time to kind of get to know you. And what do we really want? Because I want to make you guys, whoever comes in as my patient that I accept as a patient, because I don't accept everybody because I'm not for everybody. And some people want things that I don't want to do. And that's okay because there's plenty of doctors out there to do that. I am not a commodity. We'll get this a lot on they go, well, the chiropractor down the street is going to do this. I said, then go there. The chiropractor down the street at, maybe the franchise outlet Supercuts Chiropractic open on Sundays and no x-rays, no exams, no real history. He just cracked me and made a good sound, so it must be better. They don't have 30 years of experience. They don't have, the uh, the access to some of the resources that I just choose to do in my practice that makes my practice the way it is. So I'm not a commodity. So we don't accept it because everybody's not a match. Not everybody needs to. You don't need to take a gun to every knife fight that you have. Right? And I send people out. I say, you know what you need is go take a walk. Do this stretch. Do that. But whatever. But that's the doctoring stuff. What do you have to bring to the table to get the results that you want? To get this, the secrets of health and fitness and performance is, you are part of the equation. You're a big part of the equation. And you've got to ask yourself, what are you willing to do? Who are you willing to be on this journey? And what are you willing or not willing to have to make this happen? So I always, when I'm talking, I'll use a lot of analogies, but I'm going to go back over to Harry Potter. I said, you can be a muggle, you can be a half-blood, or you can be a wizard. And either one. And a muggle, there's nothing wrong with being a muggle, and there's nothing wrong with any of these. There's nothing overly great. Just identify yourself so you can tell yourself the truth so you can get the results that you want. A muggle, most people, they'll walk around, they kind of like see what happens in life. They're the general public. They're good people. They're the backbone of our country and our world. And they're like surfers. They just kind of adjust to whatever's going on in the environment. Well, my boss told me this, and I have to show up to work. We hear a lot of I have tos, and this happened, and they don't really see, at least yet, how that they can have an impact or influence their own future or even their own present. We hear, well, I had bad luck. I went to the doctor and I caught diabetes. I don't know how it happened. I don't know. Yeah, could you pass the donuts? Yeah, no, I'll have a soda. Yeah, thanks. Anyways, we'll have to do that. Oh yeah, another Twinkie. I don't know how this happened. Well, my mom had it, so that's why I have it. And there's a lot of common myths that they just kind of live in, and they never question. They just like, I got this. I would exercise more, but I have arthritis in my knee. Not realizing everybody has arthritis, not realizing that exercise is going to improve that or heal it up altogether. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't really care to look too far too further. The next category that we'll have is the half-bloods. So they're still muggles, but there's still some wizard in them, and they're moving around. And these people are a little bit more proactive. And they may walk every day, and they'll go in their garden. They'll make sure they know sunshine is good. So if it's convenient, they'll get out and they'll get some sun and they'll feel good. And they may take walks on the beach, and they'll they'll order better food when they're at a restaurant. They'll try to sort of be health conscious. They'll keep things going well. They use the green pharmacy a lot too. And the green pharmacy is something that we say, so they go to the health food store and replace their drugs to manipulate their physiology as a treatment. And they do it a little bit more healthy. And it's true, it is healthy. It's still, the philosophy is a little flawed, but at least they're like walking in the direction. And there's two types of half-bloods. There's some of the half-bloods that are trying, and then they're like muggles on steroids, because they're better and they do the right things when it's convenient and when it's helpful. And then there's the other kind of half-bloods that they take it a little bit more seriously. And they may be in the gym 3 to 5 times a week, doing back and bis, chest and tris, legs and abs, 20 minutes of cardio. They don't try to push it too hard because they don't want to sweat too much, but they're there. They're going to make a little bit better health choices, and they'll follow influencers and stuff online, and they look for biohacks, and they are they're very pronounced on the TikTok shop. So whatever. Oh, did you hear about the new supplement? Do you hear lion's mane is going to cure everything that we have? And what do you think about CBD? And they're looking still for something outside that will manipulate the physiology so that it gets a little better. And take this in context, because a lot of that stuff is very, very good for you. But again, it's kind of like shooting blindly. They're open, they know that thing is it, and they're identifying a little bit more with the wizards than the other half-bloods that identify a little bit more as muggles. So if you think about the first half-bloods that we talked about, the people that, they're walking and they're using the green pharmacy, and they're doing some stuff, so they have an awareness, but they're a little bit more muggle than they're like high-level muggles. And you get to the other side of the half-bloods, they're like very low-level wizards. And here's the interesting thing. When you get into the wizards are just batshit crazy. They're so focused, they're so detailed, they're into the science. They actually care about which proton and neutron goes to which side, and they want the real story. Not the, eat right and exercise. What do you mean specifically? I have to run my macros, and I need 0.8% or 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight in order to do this, because I need a 18-inch bicep, and I have to be able to do this. I have to run the quarter mile in 6 minutes and 37 seconds, because last time I did it in 6:39, and I have to beat myself. I have to get back over here. I'm going to focus on my details like that. So these are the crazy people that they're so focused, and they're usually very successful, because it's they just going to find the right thing, because when they looked at what they wanted, the wizards, they want to be on this earth, and they want no limitations. They want to see how far they can push themselves, how far that they can go. Well, how many times can I go up Everest? And once I do that, can I base jump off at Everest? Can I run a 5K, 10K, marathon, ultra? Can I get that done? Can I recover and go back over and do this? Can I take my family on this vacation? Can I get my business from 1 million a year to 5 million a year in 18 months? And then after that, can I take it to 20 in 2 months? They're always pushing the envelope. But I want you to think, these are the people that are resonating with Kobe and Jordan and Tyson and Goggins and some other. They are batshit crazy. They're so focused, and they don't care, because they're kind of in their own world. So if we go back over to the back end of the half-bloods, those half-bloods resonate more with the wizards, but they don't quite get it. And the whole thing about what you're asking yourself, do this in secret and ask yourself, am I willing to be batshit crazy and get those abs and get those biceps and be able to run that mile in 6 minutes and 38 seconds or 37 seconds or whatever? And does it mean so much to me that I'll get up early and do that? Am I driven? Is my vision over there? And it doesn't matter what your answer is because it's your answer, but you know what journey you're going to take. And the other thing is when you look at those half-bloods that resonate with wizards, is most of the time they're getting the information that the other half-bloods have in the muggles. It's the same type of workouts. Do you really think that LeBron James his workout consists of, well, walk around the block, and if 2 hours of gardening is just like running a mile, and you know what, if you go to bed from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, you got to get your 8 hours sleep or your 9 hours sleep. Well, it's not the same. And for the people that want high performance, the stuff that you're doing at LA Fitness and at most online things, it's information. There's details, and they're in diets, in exercise, and fitness and performance that is different than we're getting. But that's different. That's a different level of commitment. So whether you're a muggle, you're a half-blood, pick your choice of half-blood, or you're a wizard, you have to ask yourself, so what do I really want? What am I willing to do? If my neck pain and my back pain or my stomach or my energy, like, I'm not going to run 100 miles and do that. That's too much pain. Then awesome. Then you say, okay, well, I'm a half-blood. I'll kind of do this and I'll do like that. The only thing that you have to represent in your head is get clear on where you are, where you're going, and then the journey that you're going to take. Obviously, if you're going to be a muggle, you're not going to get wizard results, and don't pretend you are, and don't hold your doctor or yourself or anybody else to those same standards. Say, I'm willing to do this, and I'm going to feel better. And maybe I'll lose some weight, but I'm going to have dad bod, or I'm going to have 8 hours worth of energy, or I'm going to be able to digest X, Y, and these and Z foods before I have to take a Tums, and just kind of know everything about that. If you're a half-blood and you want to be a wizard and just say, oh, you know what? I know there's so much, and this has been in me all the time, and finally I found out, and I'm willing to do everything. And if you decide that's your level of commitment, awesome. The next step is find your health practitioner that knows what you want, has a pathway for you to get that. Make sure that they know you, and you can hold the doctor to the level of care that you want, but make sure that you're willing to do the same thing. I'll tell you what's frustrating is when people say, I want to do this, give me this, give me that. And we give them the exercise, the diet protocol, the time to get up, the meal prep. We get, here's the stuff, minimal action on your part. And well, I tried to do better. And then this got in the way. And then I was up all night. I was binge watching blah, blah on Netflix and blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, well, you wasted my time and your time. And the idea is, because like money is replaceable, time is not. So when people come in and they ask me, another secret is, I said, okay, well, money, you can do payments, you can pay this off, you can make more, you'll get more. Money is always circulating. Time, once it's gone, is gone forever, and you're not going to get that back. So how long do you want to take to be a half-blood? Or how long do you want to take to be a wizard? How long do you want to be a half-blood or a wizard? If you're a muggle, you're always just, you don't have to really do much. Just keep surfing. But if you want to go over and get these results, how long, what are you willing to do? And ask yourself what you're doing. And you and your doctor have to be on the same page and trajectory. And your doctor and you also need to know when that relationship is going to end, or at least get transferred. So let me give you an example. Is if I get somebody that's a half-blood and they want to become a wizard, and I get them and we dial them in neurologically, chiropractically, nutritionally, we got their mindset going. Guess what? They can't run an ultramarathon in my office. I am not a running coach. I run like Frankenstein, and I am not good at it. And you do not want to take running advice from me. So we have to transfer them off to a coach. Not everyone, can come over and see my personal trainer because it's $25 a session. No, we'll find somebody that's right on the journey where you can take all the skills, fitness, and performance, your physiology, and go and put that physiology out in the world. And again, maybe your next coach is the world's best quilter. I don't know. But wherever you are on that journey, you bring your team. And lastly, the secret to getting real results in your health, in your fitness, in your performance is get a team together. You want to have a manager that's kind of overlooking that, where we know your goals, we know what you want, but you should have a great massage therapist. You should have a nutritionist. You should have a personal trainer. You should have a mindset coach. You go, hold on, doctor. That's sounding kind of expensive. I am not LeBron James. And exactly. But nowadays, you don't have to pay for much of that. You find somebody that you can follow on YouTube or on Instagram, or it could be your best friend or something else. You don't have to have the highest level, and you don't have to be with them every day. But you just have to have those different elements that are always going to get you to the next level or remind you of the goals, because we all get goals and then we get goal fatigue. I've been working on this and I'm seeing progress, but you know what? I just want to do blah, blah again. You need to have somebody that's going to remind you of your goals and keep reinforcing your new identity of who you are as a wizard or a half-blood or world's best quilter, or your new world champion ultra marathon runner, or best dad, or best mom, or best CEO, or best fry cook. It really doesn't matter, but whatever's making you happy. So the very last thing I want you to do is go and interview the doctors. If you know this stuff you've listened to this podcast, you say, oh, I'm going over here and I'm going to be doing all this stuff that's getting going, that we can make that happen. Interview a couple people and know exactly where you're going. So we did all that stuff, get it going, listen to that. I just want to drop in here and talk to you about the secrets of getting real results for your health, your fitness, and your performance, because it affects everybody. You are not your symptoms. You're a person. Be treated likely. This is Dr. Bill Janishek on the Conquering Stress podcast, and I am out of here. Don't forget to click and subscribe and stay in the loop. All right, bye-bye.